back, everyone. I'm excited to be back here and to introduce a new couple. I know it's been a little bit for you guys, but before we begin, don't forget to like and subscribe and leave your comments down below about the video, what you think of it, and if you have any questions for these guys, I would love to answer them later on. I am usually with them on Sundays and just whenever, so I have their phone numbers, and so if you guys have more questions, leave them down below and I'll make sure to get it to them. Guys, I'm so excited because God has put such an awesome couple in front of me, and I've gotten to watch them for a couple of years now, and I'm so excited for you guys to meet them. So without further ado, here's Eric and Brenda Nidenfer. I know you guys, but could you please introduce yourself, let everybody know who you guys are, and how you guys met, ultimately.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Well, do you want to start by introducing yourself?
I'm Brenda, and this is Eric. We've been married, I guess, going on...
You guess.
19 years? No, I don't guess.
We're going on 19 years.
19 years.
Rare the guy actually knows.
When you get past a certain point, it's like, yeah. So, no.
I remember that come present time, right? Come June 15th.
No, we've been together about 20 years, but married will be 19 years this coming June. And we met at Bryan College in Dayton, Tennessee.
Yeah.
We were both there.
Yeah, so we were, you know, and as life has it, I actually thought she was dating somebody else at the time. And so, you know, I wasn't even, I guess you would say I didn't even have my best foot forward because I thought she was already taken, right? I thought she was already off the market. Yeah, so I thought I could just be my normal idiot self. And so we both were a part of a ministry there at Bryan College. She was actually kind of over all the different ministries, and I was the president of one of the ministries. And I knew of her. Her roommate and I were actually in a lot of classes together, and she was clearly out of my league, clearly still is. There's no reason that we ended up together except for the grace of God. But she was there and I was there, and we ended up just having a great conversation around God's activity in our lives and what it looks like to pursue God. And that conversation then sparked a book that she dropped off for me. I
don't think you still ever read it.
It has big words in it. It was over my...
I understand that.
It's not Cat in the Hat or some form of Dr. Seuss.
Amen.
Anyway, so...
He was still trying to impress me a little bit with the book drop.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, once I found out she was on the market, if you will, of course I was.
Yeah, it's like, you got to do whatever you need to.
She was single, and therefore I knew that I had to up my game. So, so anyway, so I was doing some speaking at the time, and she came to a speaking engagement that I was a part of, and she ended up getting dropped off with me at the same exact moment where we played a game of pool together.
And his friends were a little bit stinkers.
There was some scheming going on for sure.
I like it.
I let her beat me in the pool game and told her she was fantastic.
Exactly.
That's what he said.
I'm still letting her beat me at pool 20 years later. I mean, that's all it is.
Right.
It's not because I'm not good at pool.
Right.
It's because I love my wife.
I wasn't
That's the right thing to do.
Champion.
Oh, she was an intramural pool champion. Did you hear that?
I think there was only like 2 of us.
Yeah, well, still.
Hey, I mean, a champion is a champion.
That's
regardless
right.
of, who's around.
Yeah. I was never a champion. So
pool was never my game, to be honest. So that is not me at all.
It was the quickest way to a t-shirt that said so we did what we had to do.
I'm okay with that. I love t-shirts. That is one thing I do enjoy very much.
Me too. So we dated for a very quick dating period. And actually I was a junior, she was a senior. So she was about to graduate. She's 8, yeah, exactly, right? She's 18 months older than I am, although she looks 20 years younger than I am. And so so I knew that I had to move fast. Time was of the essence, right?
You have a short time window.
Short time. And so the time that we started to hook up, she was about to graduate.
Right.
So I had to win her over, win her family over, and make my moves before she was gone.
Right. Because that was kind of your chance.
That was my chance.
That was it.
She was taking it. So we were in Dayton, Tennessee, and she was about to move to Amarillo, Texas to be a first grade teacher out there.
So you really had a short time.
So I went to my professor, my guidance counselor slash professor slash, at Bryan College, he was everything to us. And I sat down with him and I said, Rick, I've got to graduate in 1 semester. you tell me how to graduate because I can't let this girl go.
Right.
And he looked at me and he said, it's because of Brenda, right? I said, absolutely it is. Tell me how to graduate in one semester. So in my senior year of college, I only had one semester.
Yep.
I had to take 3 summer classes and 24 or 27 hours worth of coursework. And I had to test out of Spanish 3, even though I'd never had Spanish 1 or 2. And so I had to do all these things, but it was totally worth it. So I graduated in one semester, and we ended up getting married June 15, 2002.
That is...
There you go.
Wow, incredible. Man, hearing that at the very end, that's worth it to do all that, because I did 7 classes this past semester just to graduate and get done. I wanted to do the world race, and I thought it was going to leave in August.
Absolutely.
And so I was like, let's get it done. And I was dying at 7 classes.
That's a lot.
People were like, are you okay? I'm like, don't talk to me.
That's a lot, man. That is a ton. Yeah.
So I get that, but man, I couldn't do that. Couldn't do that.
Yeah.
That is so cool just to see how God has worked in and through who you guys are, the ministry that you're part of, how you guys even met, how you guys got together. That is just so incredible.
Yeah.
And I want to give you guys all the time for these questions.
Sure.
They're going to range from difficult, not difficult, but there's only 5.
Bring it on. We're ready.
So it's going to be,
it'll
be easy.
We're an open book.
I love it. How has God used your marriage to deepen your individual relationship with Him?
That's a good question. Would you like to start? Or you want me to start?
You can go. I'm a processor.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Well, and that answer right there is actually the first thing I would say. I am a shoot from the hip.
Yep.
I am halfway crazy.
Amen.
I'm an East Tennessee nut job, and I will tell you this: that my whole relationship with God was that way. A lot of times there was a lot of talk, but not a lot of processing who God is and the relationship that I had with God. And so one of the things that Brenda has brought to our marriage that has impacted me on such a whole different level is the fact that I didn't realize all the weaknesses I had, all the holes I had, even in how I pursued God. It was sometimes it was so flippant and it was so quick that I missed those sweet moments of just waiting upon God. Because I'm not a patient person. I'm not a guy who typically knows how to wait. And so for me, watching her and how she pursues God and how she loves God and how authentically she just opens her life up to God and is in these patient moments pursuing God, it's deepened my walk with Christ now. My times with God are more intimate. I spend more quality time with God. Why? Because I've learned what it means to spend quality time with somebody that He's blessed my life with. And so there's no question, that's just scratching the surface of how many different ways she has impacted my individual walk with God through the walk that we have together.
That's awesome.
I think for me, it started from the very beginning when we started getting to know each other. It was just probably weeks before Eric and our paths kind of crossed. That I was on a missions trip and was in Nicaragua and was just really recommitting my heart to the Lord. I had dated some guys through high school and college and knew that some of those relationships weren't always what God wanted for me, but I was using those relationships to fill voids in my heart that I was lonely or I wanted someone there, and I wasn't willing to let go and trust God with that to fill those voids. And I had gotten to a point where I was just like, God, I know that I've settled in those areas a lot, and I just want it to be you and me. And and it was after making that commitment, I had even prayed, if it's years before I meet somebody, and it was usually literally weeks when our paths crossed. But I think it took that act of letting go and trusting God to fill that void in my life. But there was still a lot of baggage from those relationships. There was a lot of guilt. There was a lot of shame. There was just regret that I hadn't just let God orchestrate that in my life, that I tried to do it on my own. And I remember having to share some of that with Eric, and that was the biggest thing that I think just spoke to my heart as we were having a conversation. He said, I don't worry about the past, because the past is what made you who you are today, and I like the person who's sitting in front of me today. And that's been huge for me in our relationship, is just that grace and that God has a plan and purpose for our life, and that even the times when we get off track, when we've messed up, when we have tried to do it in our own strength and power, that God doesn't give up on us.
No.
And, you know, it was just like, you know, God, you're still blessing me with the man of my dreams. You're still filling the desires of my heart of what I've always wanted and prayed for in a husband, even though I didn't necessarily do it, you know, I'm a perfectionist, even though I didn't do it perfect, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's been something that God has really ministered to my heart.
That's incredible, guys, just to hear that. And even going through this week and sharing, you know, baggage and what that looks like, and how every relationship you come into, there's always something that you're bringing.
That's right.
And so it's processing that even beforehand. And I loved how you said, because there's plenty of girls that I've known that they just want marriage, they want marriage, they want marriage so badly, that some of them will settle, they'll do whatever they want to, but the fact that you're like, all right, God, this can't do it, you know, and knowing that at that point you released it all, and God was like, all right, that's what I've been waiting for, is for you to let it all go, so then I can bless you. So I love that. That's really incredible.
I wish
and
I would have
awesome.
done it sooner.
Yep.
But all in God's timing.
Exactly, and he works according to his plan and time, so I agree. Have there been any challenges being married to a significant other all these years, and how have you guys overcome these challenges? So, what has that looked like? I mean, I've seen you guys in a looks like a perfect relationship, so I know that there isn't too many issues, but if you could name one or two.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. No, listen, it is one of those things, and you have a lot more you can say on me, because I mean, come on, clearly she hasn't done
I think from the very beginning, we came from two very different backgrounds. We came from two very different upbringings, how finances were handled, family dynamics. So right away, that was a big thing when we first got married, that we had to find our lane. We were closer to his family than my family. We worked with his family. We worked together. And so that really leaving and cleaving and finding our own path, I mean, it's taken us a while, you know, to find our own identity of bringing in, you know, things from his side and my side, and then letting God direct our hearts.
That's right.
So that's probably the first thing that comes
and there's
to
no
my mind.
question. And I think what's so interesting about that, you know, it says in Mark about the two become one flesh, right?
Exactly.
It doesn't say that we become one spirit or we become unity. It says we become one flesh, meaning we're still both flesh. Right? We both have this stuff that causes us to sin. And, and so we both brought, you know, not just baggage in there, but we brought expectations. And those expectations were maybe how we grew up and saw our parents do it, or our families, or those that we cared about, or that couple that we just wanted to model. You know, we had it in our heads that, hey, we're going to look like this, we're going to sound like this. But the truth is, even though we came together, we're still flesh, and we still had so much to learn. And so we have had some big time blow-ups, and then I come around and realize I'm wrong and she's right, and we get
That's the secret, guys. All right,
That's right.
He's revealing a lot of secrets here. Right?
Yeah, I'm telling you.
He's really good at apologizing quickly.
Oh yes.
Me, I sometimes like to let it simmer, and
which is a whole nother conversation, right? I want to say I'm sorry. You should get past this. Let's move on. But she's like, I'm not ready to get past it. I'm like, why are you not ready to get past it? I just said I'm sorry.
Still processing, right?
But I would say the biggest one for me. So I'm a pastor at a church here in town, but I'm also a COO for a company that my father and I founded that we started up in Las Vegas, Nevada, and so for the last 11 years, even before that, we were pursuing other things. So really for like the past 15 years of our marriage, I've been very much pursuing a startup business and growing it, and that is a marriage of its own. It's a commitment of its own. You have to commit to the company. You have to commit to seeing this vision become a reality. Well, what I failed to understand oftentimes is when I was committing to that, there were years where I was on the road more than I was home. I was flying to San Francisco, Seattle, New York. I mean, you name it, I was all over. And what I failed to understand is every time that I left her with something else at home that she had to deal with, and my issues were always bigger than her issues in my head. You're dealing with that? You don't even understand how many things I have going on. I have this going. I got to figure out how I'm going to financially pay 15 people and these other, and if I don't, then this is going to fall. I was making my problems bigger than her problems. And when I did that, she felt left out, left behind, but she also felt rejected.
Right.
And one of the things that's so important in my life is to treat her the same way today that I did the day we met. I want to pursue her as much today as I did on day one. And if I'm not, then what in my life has come in between the two of us?
Right.
If our pursuit of God is the focus, the closer we get to God, the more I become the husband she needs me to be, and the more she becomes the wife I need to be. Jesus has to be at the center of it all. But the problem is, life sometimes has a way of putting finances in the center of it all, or business in the center of it all, or children in the center of it all, or you name it, anything can replace that. And when that happens, we start to grow distant. And when we grow distant, fights start to happen. The disagreements start to escalate. And what was a small thing now becomes a big thing. And then if I'm not open and honest about them, then I'm overlooking the hurt that has been caused to her. And where we may get past a disagreement, we might be able to say, I'm sorry too, let's move on. We don't heal from it. And if you don't heal from it, then the hurt's still there, and it's going to happen again on a much larger scale. And I would say that early on in the course of growing the business that we have run for the last 11 years, I was not aware of that. And I was not aware of it until probably a couple of years back. We had our big blow up. And all the things were said. You know, everything. Maybe I'm better off just going over here. Maybe I should go over here. Maybe this should happen. And what I failed to understand is it was years and years of me laying a foundation of hurt, of me choosing something other than God in the middle, and my wife right in the heart of that, because she is as much a part of this as I'm a part of everything, but I was treating her differently. And so when we had that massive blow up and everything just kind of hit the fan, if you will, we've had a few of them. We've had a few of them, but I would say that was one of the bigger ones for me, because it was
a lot building.
There was a lot, and it was an eye-opening moment for me to realize I had left the love of my life behind, and I had gone on a journey. I had gone on all this, and now she is the one who's looking back saying, why did you do this to our family? Why did you do this? Why weren't you there? So she saw it through the eyes of a very different life than I was seeing it from. And it all escalated and blew up. And only when I could come to that point where I understood what I had done, and then also request her forgiveness, and also request the forgiveness of God for not making Him the center of everything, could we start to heal and get past it. And so, even though we still have skirmishes from time to time, I would say that the pain and frustration and hurt that has been there for a majority of our marriage, just because of decisions, it was dealt with at that time, and now my decision-making process is different. But anyways, I would say for me, that's one that came to my mind, that was a big blow-up.
But I think the encouraging thing about it is that a lot of people will ask, well, how did you deal with it? How did you get through that? And maybe we should have gone to counselors. I don't know. We never did. But when you have God in the middle of your relationship, He is your counselor. And I think that's the thing that we've gone through some hard times, financially challenging times, health scare. I mean, all the things that people face in life. But as God is our constant, even when we were going in different directions, or He kept us grounded. And there's times that I'll say, if it wasn't for God, we still wouldn't be together. And he's like, well, that's kind of harsh. But what I mean is that if God wasn't our constant, if He wasn't the thing that we're both clinging to constantly, daily, marriage doesn't work. So
and I'll tell you, here's a tip from the Big Easy's closet of pain, if you will. So, I believe our senior pastor at our church, he did a beautiful ordination ceremony a couple of weeks ago for one of the other pastors, and he even spoke about it from a leadership perspective. But as a man, we are to be the leaders of our household. We're supposed to step up and assume the safety and security of our family. It's one of our innate responsibilities. And so, as a result of that, one of the things that he shared on the stage for a pastor, but I also believe it correlates to everything as a husband in a relationship, we are called to be always ready to be swift to grace and the first in line to apologize. And that's not just something we do because that's what we're supposed to do. It's because we have to make sure that in all regards in our life that we're making the hard choice. And the hard choice sometimes is to go before her when I don't feel like it and I don't want to, and say, you know what? Let's sit down and let's talk for a minute. Let's have a conversation. And know that I'm sorry for the way I handled this. I did not handle it right. And I might not even be ready to say that.
Right.
But what that does is it opens up a conversation. And conversation that is done in that mindset of humility and heartfelt, it can melt down any of the issues that we have faced. And so one of the things that I would say is, as leaders of any relationship, let's be swift to grace. Let's be first one in line to say, you know what? I screwed up here and I'm so sorry I screwed up. Let's talk about it. And so that's one thing I'd say. Sometimes we gotta eat the I won't say it. we gotta eat the tough stuff.
Yes, we do.
Anyways.
Yes, we do. And I love that, just how you guys really talked about having God in the center, because marriage in itself was designed and created by Him.
That's
so
right.
It's like, if you don't have Him there, you can't expect it to work out. It's just, you're gonna find reasons, you're gonna find purposes to leave and to not be around. So
that's right.
I love that. Third question. Because I'm just gonna leave all that there. That was awesome. And you guys have been so awesome, and like I said, this is all authentic, so you guys were not ready for any of the questions that were brought before you. And Eric, you and I being so similar that we'll just, whatever you say, let's try to figure it out. I don't need the details.
Wing it. That's right.
That is 100% how we work. Guys, it is so awesome being with them, and this video is going to stop right here, just because I want you guys to know the full story of what they've gone through and the questions that you guys have given to me, and now I'm presenting to them. So this is a halfway point, and next week I'm going to release the next part of this video so you guys can really get to know who these guys are, because the questions, just me seeing them, experiencing them, and recording it has been so amazing. So I can't wait for you guys to see the end of this video. So I'll see you guys next week, continuing with I want to say Pastor Eric, because he is my pastor, but with Eric and Brenda Nidenfer. Thank you guys so much again for watching. Peace out.